All right, guys, we are live. This is the Shillin and Duffy Show live recap of UFC 319. I am your host. My name is Keith Shillin. Mr. Duffy is not here to replace him. I didn't get one guest. I got two guests, two guys that everyone's familiar with. The man right in the middle. He's known as Dev Goes Fishing, or also known as Devin Tejada. Devin, what's up, man? How you doing?
Dude, I'm doing really good. This was actually a really, really good night of fights. The UFC showed out tonight. All the fighters showed out, and I'm pretty stoked.
And the guy to his right, all the way to the right on your screen, is the man from the mountains of Utah. He, of course, is that good-looking fellow over there, the great Dane Fox. Dane, what's up, my man?
Always happy to be here, and excited to talk about the fights. I'm sure that there's someone who's going to disagree with Dev about the excitement, particularly the main event, but we'll get there.
Let's give a shout out to all the people in the chat. It's 105, which is actually a little bit early for a pay-per-view based on some really fun stoppages on the main card. Before that, I want to give you guys a little, before we get into the fights, I'll tell you how this is going to go. I'm going to be on the show for a couple fights. I'm going to jump out. These guys got to take over and do their thing. I'll tell you that why in a minute. So I was in Texas this week. For anybody who knows, me and Ben Duffy has been doing this show for, I think he said 4 years. I think he's counted like well over 300, maybe 400 shows. Me and Ben had finally met each other in person. We sized each other up. He's looking jacked. He's down 40 pounds. So that was the big news this week. Second thing, I want to tell you my schedule. Now, people might ask, who's the more committed member of the Shillin and Duffy Show? There's people that's Team Keith. There's people that's Team Ben. I think that shit got put to bed today. I don't know where Ben is. Let me tell you where I was today. At 10 a.m. East Coast time, I was in the Boulevard Peninsula in Texas at a place called Crystal Beach, Texas. From there, I drove a half hour to get to the end of the peninsula, to wait a half hour for a ferry ride. Took a boat. Nothing stopping me from this. Took a boat, a ferry, 30 minutes across to Galveston, Texas. Wait, I'm not done yet. From Galveston, Texas, I drove 45 minutes to airport in Houston. I forget the name of it. It wasn't the international one. It was the other one in Houston, Texas. From there, I took a flight to Love Field in Dallas, Fort Worth area. From there, I took a plane ride while in the air from Dallas to Baltimore. The cart started. I landed in Baltimore. I'm standing in the airport watching, let's see. I'm charging my phone at like 3% battery watching Edson Barbosa versus Drakkar Klose. That's the first fight I got to see. I get on the plane. Well, I would sit, get in their seats. I get to watch Hobby. Yes, Marcus Muscle. Yes, that's correct. It was Hobby Airport in Houston. Thank you. Thank you, sir. While that was going on, I'm walking on the plane. You know that what do you call that, like little ramp thing? When Alex Hernandez knocks out Chase Hooper. I was like getting their bags. I'm looking at my phone. I haven't stepped on the phone. I'm watching Jessica Andrade and Lupe Godinez fight each other. I never got to see the post-fight and who actually got raised because I lifted off the ground with 20 seconds left in the fight. Oh. And I watched the last 20 seconds in the air. I don't know how high I was, but before internet. And then I went to a commercial break and I didn't get back. So then from Baltimore, I landed in Providence. My dad picked me up. I had to drive my dad to Cranston. Although while I'm picking up my bags, I'm watching Tim Elliott versus Kai Asakura. From there, my wife, luckily enough, drives. We drop off my dad. She drives me from Cranston to Coventry. I'm watching the Michael Venom page in the car. I'm setting up my equipment. and I'm watching Prates versus Neal. I'm catching up on my notes during Pico versus Murphy. And then finally for the main event, I'm totally caught up. So the question is to you two guys. The first question, who is more committed, me or Ben? Ben, where you at, kid? Where you at? I'm calling you out, Ben. Where you at?
I don't know what to say. You're on a ferry today.
I was on a ferry.
Dude, in Galveston.
Like I don't know, 13 hours ago. I was in Texas. I was somewhere, I don't know, between Houston and Baltimore when this card started. Anyways, let's get it. That's not why people are staying up late to hear my day. I just want to show the people how committed I am. So, guys, let's get right into it. Main event. It was called the biggest fight card of the year, or really basically the biggest main event of the year. Middleweight champion, kind of long reigning middleweight champion, Dricus Du Plessis defended his title against the boogeyman of the division, Khazmat. Excuse me, that's kind of there. Chimaev, Khazmat Chimaev. And bear with me, guys. I'm a little loopy. Guys, this is how crazy. My ears haven't popped. This ear is still like hasn't popped. That's how crazy this day has been. Holy shit! So before we get into it, who'd you guys pick to win the fight?
Khazmat Chimaev.
Okay.
I picked DDP.
Okay. All right. So we'll start with Dev. Dev, when you picked Khazmat, I'm assuming it was kind of what everybody's like. I picked Khazmat too. Mine was he's just going to run right through him. He's going to do his thing. We don't have to worry about the cardio. In a weird sense, and is that true? Is that how you picked it too, or did you expect it to go 25 minutes?
First off, I appreciate your story about how you got here. That was like the old people, telling their grandkids, you don't know what I did to get here. I hiked up 25 miles in waist deep snow. You're here.
Oh, I
appreciate it.
With me doing this. I also had a wife and 3 kids with me too.
No, I honestly, this is Khazmat Chimaev's most impressive performance, in my opinion, like by far, because he proved all of us wrong. Not many people thought he was going to go out there and just completely blank Du Plessis. I would love to know the exact strike count, and I'm sure I could look it up. But that was just what I call the pretzeling in the Sherdog Slack. Like, he turned Dricus Du Plessis into a pretzel several times tonight. It's really one-sided, kind of a shellacking.
Yeah, I totally agree with you said. I mean, if we're talking about the knockout, the skills there, especially the wrestling part. I mean, his MMA wrestling is great. And I think what really was impressive was we thought, hey, we all knew he was going to wrestle early. I mean, everyone fights, he goes for a takedown. I think other than maybe Jared Mershot, he takes everybody down immediately, and then he starts wrestling. But we thought, hey, if Du Plessis can get back up, get slammed again, get back up, get slammed again, get back up, slammed again. The momentum would start to change to Du Plessis, and he would kind of slow himself down, and Du Plessis would start to take over. But that wasn't the case because the positioning, he didn't have to scramble. There wasn't a lot of scrambles. There was a lot of takedown control, and now it's Du Plessis who's carrying Chimaev's weight. His, probably 200 pounds. Dane, jump in and talk to me about his performance.
So while I actually do agree with Devin in saying that overall it is Chimaev's most impressive performance, there's a lot of people that are going to disagree just because he drug it out for 25 minutes, whereas Khamzat's traditionally been smashing people. So that's going to get a lot of people down on Khamzat after this performance. I mean, obviously he deserved the title after this, but it wasn't the most aesthetically pleasing performance. Nevertheless, I agree with you in your assessment, and that's because Khamzat wasn't going for the kill. Like he was going for position over the kill every single time. Like he had a couple of attempts at submissions, but Dricus defended well, and rather than force the issue, he would just kind of back up, reset, and maintain the position. He spent the whole time looking to control Dricus, and because he wasn't going for the kill, he didn't expend a shit ton of energy and was able to go 25 minutes, no problems. Granted, Dricus didn't necessarily help by just kind of waiting things out. But nevertheless, very impressive performance from Khamzat. Very smart performance from Khamzat. So,
yeah, and I mean, you think about what he has done in the past, and I see boxing guys saying it, and I think that's perfect. He played it safe. Yeah, I think he was intelligent. He had one goal. He said from a long time, "I want to be UFC champion." You know, give me the belt. You know, his famously screaming, "Give me that belt!" and all this stuff. He could have went on and he could have, you know, swung for the fences. He could have had some crazy scrambles, chasing submissions and all that. And maybe he does gas himself out. Maybe they get a fight of the night bonus. Maybe there's a fight of the year, all this stuff. But why do that? Why not just secure the belt? He has a knockout. He has submissions. I mean, his last fight, he crushed Robert Whitaker's face. Now, Dev, I'm going to ask you a question. We saw cardio. Now, again, it wasn't that crazy as high pace, but he did wrestle. He got a lot of, I don't know how many takedowns he had total, but it was probably around 10 takedowns or something, and move into, you know, more dominant position. Dev, is Khazmat Chimaev with 25-minute cardio? That was the big thing. Oh, we saw him gas a little, and I always thought that Gilbert Burns gassing out was very overblown, but the Kamaru Usman one is the one that really got people like, oh shit. You can get him tired. You can win. We saw Usman coming on late. But now Chimaev working with Sam Calvito, getting that cardio.
Yep.
Again, not the Du Plessis pressing the action kind of fight that a lot of the Du Plessis backers were hoping for. But is a 25-minute Chimaev cardio? Is that guy, is he unstoppable?
You know, this is also really impressive for me because we haven't seen anybody out physical Dricus Du Plessis. Like Dricus Du Plessis is probably like the most, well, up till now was like the most physical dude in that division. That's just, I mean, you could define him as an absolute hoss. Like we saw him literally bench press Derek Brunson out of full mount. Like I watched him do that doing tape study for this, and Khamzat Chimaev not only, you know, outclassed him everywhere, he was just stronger than him. He seemed to be like the physical force in there, and that's just never been the case in any Dricus Du Plessis fight up until now. You know, it's really interesting because there's a guy that can, you know, match him there and probably surpass him there. Thing is, he's not the same technician as Khamzat Chimaev. Khamzat Chimaev having this cardio and being like a true technician, like, besides Fluffy, I don't see many people that are going to stand a chance against this dude.
It's funny because I was thinking about what you're saying about manhandling a guy. I mean, we saw Fluffy do that a week ago, but it was still different how he did it. I mean, Fluffy still was getting Delitzky tired, and then he started mauling him
and absorbed way more damage than Khamzat.
Yeah, and
Khamzat absorbed no damage.
He stood up with him more. So Dane, you're a history buff when it comes to the fight game. When was the last time you remember a champion getting dominated this much to this, this amount of offense, or lack of offense, I should say, where it was this one side over 25? We've seen ones where guys get knocked out quick or something like that. A guy clearly loses 5 rounds, but to the point where there was pretty much, I mean, other than the 5th round when he briefly got the mount and briefly got the back, I think he might have landed one good right hand in the 4th. When was the last time we saw a champion get this dominated for 25 minutes? I know I got one that comes to my mind, but I want to see what you're going to say. I know I think Antoine Willis threw out John Jones, how he was like big dog in Shogun when he won the title. What do you have that comes to mind?
So the comparison that I actually threw out in the chat was and this actually kind of fits apropos because DDP did have a little bit of a comeback. Obviously didn't finish it, but was Anderson Silva and Chael Sonnen, because Chael beat on Anderson for 4.5 rounds before Silva did anything.
Sure.
Granted, Silva finished the fight, whereas DDP didn't. But regardless, as far as that goes, I think that Hua probably is the best comparison that I can think of, just because he took a shellacking up until the point he was finished. Yeah. But as far as a complete 25-minute shellacking, I can't think of one. Normally the belt is just wrested away within the first round or two if it's a dominant performance from the challenger. So
yeah, ES thrown out Weili Zhang, getting the crucifix on Carlos Esparza repeatedly in submarine. That's a good example. He also throws out Kane versus JDS series. I don't know series because obviously JDS won the first one. But, the one that came to my mind was Kamaru Usman beating Tyron Woodley.
Yeah. A mugging against the cage.
Right.
Just an absolute mugging against the cage.
So, Dane, you mentioned, I'm sure, Dev, you mentioned that, that Chimaev's not going to gain too many fans because of this style. But I want to caution people. Go back.
Yeah.
People remember George St. Pierre high kicking Matt Hughes, and they forget him holding down John Fitch, him holding down Dan Hardy, remember the big buildup of George St. Pierre versus Nick Diaz and how much of a snoozer that was? People forget these ones. I mean, they go back to Anderson Silva. People forget the Talos Leighton fight.
Patrick Cote.
They forget the Damon Meyer fight. They forget these things.
Yeah.
They always remember the biggest moments.
Yeah.
He's got to spatter in some big moments within the reign. Otherwise, they are going to complain about it. But I think that Khamzat's got plenty of time to do that. Like, if he just has 4 straight defenses where he just bores people to death, then yeah, he will have a stigma. But if he can mix in 1 or 2 memorable moments, you're right. He's going to be absolutely fine.
Ninja Kitty, I would say Ultimate Warrior versus Honky Tonk Man. That was short. The funny thing is, people think Ninja Kitty is throwing out 2 random. He's not. I actually know exactly what he would do. The Warrior came running out, take out Honky. I think it was either SummerSlam or Survivor Series. I think it might have been Survivor Series.
Dude, and Honky Tonk was the longest reigning Intercontinental Champion for who knows how long, man. Ninja Kitty knows what they're talking about.
Yeah, I remember watching this fight tonight, and there was a moment, and I said, "Oh shit, Chimaev, it's over." And it was over early. It was between the second and third round, and Chimaev just banked his second round, he wasted no energy, and he was kind of on the back ball, and then the round ended, and they both kind of sat on their knees next to each other, almost like a catcher, and they high-fived each other. And I was sitting there and I was like, if I was Du Plessis' coach right now, I would fucking flip out on him and be like, dude, you're down 2-0. We need this guy's fucking tight. He's not even breathing hard. And you're fucking high-fiving him and shit. You need to pop up and get in his face and be like, dude, I'm not fucking backing down.
Yeah.
And I was like, it's over. Chimaev won. DDP, like, he's not broken. Like, he didn't give up, but like, that's not what you do to man. You're the guy that you get him tired, you get him thinking you're not going to go away. Instead, now you're smiling and high-fiving. Like, dude.
DDP's spirit wasn't broken, but mentally he was broken. I think that's a good way to put it. He didn't have any answers. He didn't know what to do.
Yeah, I think his game plan was broken. It's like you could have a good game plan if you just keep getting beat, and there's nothing you could do.
Yeah,
there was a moment at the end of the third round where, the Goddard, who was absolutely terrible in this fight, by the way, abysmal, stops the round, and then Dricus was on bottom, and Khamzat just pushed him back to the ground, just like an "F you, bitch." Like, and then I knew right there in that moment, I was like, yeah, I mean, he's big dog in Dricus, which is just, again, I'm so surprised to see anybody Dricus is very clumsy. Like, he's a really clumsy dude, and that's why these takedowns came so easy. Plus, he's Khamzat Chimaev, but I'm just still surprised that somebody was able to just go out there and out physical him. Like, watching Dricus try to buck out of that crucifix, and he was just like fucking duct taped to the mat. Like, there was no chance.
Yeah, I gotta ask a question that I always like to ask. I'll start it off with Dane. We always ask this question: was when a champion, the belt changed his hands, was it a good thing for the UFC? Obviously, they're coming into this Paramount deal and everything. Is Chimaev now being the champion instead of Du Plessis? Now, a lot of people on Twitter were upset with obviously Du Plessis. Chimaev's win, how he won. But was it a good or a bad thing? Because say what you want about Du Plessis, he's usually in exciting fights.
True. But I think that we can also attest that charisma is more important for a title holder or for the UFC than how exciting they are in fights. Because who was more exciting than Robbie Lawler? Robbie Lawler was the king of exciting fights during his title reign. That was, for fight fans, at least hardcore ones, one of the greatest periods or reigns ever. But Lawler was never a big star because he wasn't exceptionally charismatic. Hamzat
He was still on the co-main event of Connor's card.
Exactly. Hamzat, he's exceptionally charismatic, whether you like him or not. You know, the whole "give me the belt," or even as we were talking about in the chat, he's got that that mischievous sneer about him. You know, it's something that it's easy to sell to people.
What was the promotion that was getting me this week? The soundbite was when he kept saying, "Oh, when I walk around and people ask me what fight, I say fight Dricus. Nobody knows who he is. I got to make him famous this week." Like
I loved it. His little menacing smile. He looks like the troublemaker in a classroom.
Yeah,
you know, when he's like smiling. You know, with you know, this is great for the UFC. I think it's really good. Like they're.
Yeah, I think again the marketability of them. I think also like I think people will forget about Styles once you put in a highlight video and you see him. You know, there'll be one where he's just the highlight would be him at one point just throwing DDP down, him breaking Robert Whittaker's teeth, him knocking out Jeremy. That's still going to be with the cool sound bites. That still will sell to my friends.
Sleeping the leech, choking the leech all the way to death.
Picking up and while he's talking to Dana White and all that. Also, it opens up the division. I mean, the division was kind of wide open. It makes it even more. And now I kind of have, we were kind of looking at 4, maybe 5 possibilities for next middleweight. And guys that, and I'm not saying the top of the line, but guys like Strickland and Adesanya are back in the picture now. They're going to need a couple wins, but I mean, like Strickland was buried after 2 losses to DDP. Now, again, some people listen. They don't listen to what I'm saying. They listen to what I think I'm saying. I am not saying Strickland. He's not even close to the title picture. But I mean, but he's still like, you go down the list 7 or 8 now. He's got a phone call before. It's like, shit, you're going down to the 30th ranked guy before you call Strickland up. So, anyways, I think it's a good thing for the UFC. Let's do this. When we talked about it last week with Fluffy Hernandez, I'm going to give you 5 names. Before that, before I tell you or ask you who you would book next, I want you to rank these hardest to easiest matchups for Chimaev. And again, they might all be easy matchups, but I want you to do it for me. I'll start with Dev. Here's the names: Imavov, Bahayo, Fluffy Hernandez, Renier Derrida, and I'm going to throw Michael Page in there. Rank of 3. Hardest to easiest.
Hardest fight's going to be Fluffy.
Okay.
Second hardest fight is probably going to be, it really depends on who wins between Bahayo and Imavov. I'll know more there, but I'm going to actually say Imavov right now. I just think Imavov's a little more dangerous. Then Bahayo, then MVP.
So you go Fluffy. Where did you put Derrida in there?
Sorry, I missed Derrida. Actually, Derrida, I think he's kind of sneaky, but I'm going to put him as, I guess, second to last, right before.
Okay. MVP. So you go so you go Fluffy, Imavov 2, Bahayo 3, Derrida 4, Michael Venom Page 5.
Yep.
Dang, go.
I would switch Bahayo and Imavov, but aside from that, I completely agree with Dev.
All right, I'll give you mine. I'm gonna give you reasons why. I agree with both you guys. Fluffy number 1, simply because that cardio they can get. Listen. I think there's a very good chance it looks just like that. You could have all the cardio in the world. If you can't get off from bottom and you're getting taken down, there's a very good chance to look a lot like what we saw tonight. But he puts even harder pace than Du Plessis does. So he's my number 1. My number 2 is going to be Derrida, simply because he's so freaking big.
He's huge.
That maybe he wouldn't get out muscle that we see Chimaev just out muscling so many people. He's sneaky with those knees up the middle. I'm going to go with him. Just his size. He's my number 2. My number 3 is going to surprise you. I'm going to say Michael Page. And again, I'm not giving any of these guys a good chance. But the one thing about Michael Page, now he's going to be the easiest one to take it down. They're all going to be easy for Chimaev to take him down. However, if there's one guy that lands a knee as he's coming in or lands a punch when he's coming in, it's Michael Page. I don't think he's got a good chance, but maybe it's a spinning back elbow that we saw tonight. 2 fights tonight as the guys pressing in on him. And Bahayo and Imavov, I agree with what Dev says. We'll find out next week, but I'll go Bahayo just because I'll give him the fight nerds. That team's so hot, and then I'll go Imavov because. But whatever.
You're safe to assume with fight nerds. You're safe to assume after tonight.
Yeah, I don't give him a good chance.
Fluffy only, man. Fluffy, I think him and Fluffy is a 50-50 fight. I have no fucking clue.
Okay, let me ask you this. So you think as someone who predicts fights, you say 50-50. What do you think the betting odds would be though?
Hamza would probably be minus 300.
And what was it heading in tonight? Was it around minus 300?
He was like minus 270.
Okay, so you think he'd be even a bigger favorite?
Probably.
I think he would be.
Probably.
And I agree because he answered.
Dricus was undefeated.
Yeah, and also the big thing about it was, what was the weakness? Chimaev had one weakness, and he showed it ain't that much of a weakness. We might have overblown it. Dane, what do you think the betting odds would be?
Oh god. He said minus 300. I'd probably say closer to about minus 450 after tonight.
Yeah, you're probably right. Like
we would have to find out, but well, number one, I disagree that it would be 50-50. I'd probably, Keith's saying that he wouldn't give any of them a really good chance, and I'm actually with him on that. I do think Fluffy would have the best chance, but even then, I would say he's probably at about 75-25 at that point. So, yeah.
Okay. Now, obviously, this is a different question, similar, and throw another name out there. If there's someone I'm forgetting, I put those top 5 as kind of like the ones. If I'm going down a phone call, those are the people I'm calling. Is there somebody else in the picture I'm forgetting about?
Izzy is kind of always one fight away, and maybe he could, get a knockout. But what's come on, Hamzat versus Izzy. Even when Izzy was in his prime, we were all sitting right here saying how one-sided it would probably be. And after tonight, I would say Hamzat would be like a minus 800 favorite over Izzy.
Oh yeah, I totally agree. Especially. So now you're the UFC. Say Chimaev. Say we get old Chimaev back, where he wants to fight often. It's not. We don't see him a year from now. We see him.
He wants to fight in the Middle East.
Say November. November. He says, "Hey, that New York card's looking pretty good. I've never fought in New York City. I want to headline the New York City card." I'm just throwing one out there.
Sure.
Who are you calling?
Fluffy.
Okay. Just because he's the hardest matchup, or do you think he's the most deserving?
He might not be the most deserving, but I don't know if there's a true most deserving right now.
I agree.
And I just, Fluffy was so incredible last weekend over Roman Dolidze. Like you got to capitalize on that. I
think the counter argument would be, and I'm just gonna play devil's advocate for a second. Yeah, it was Roman Dolidze. It was Dorita has a better win. He beat Robert Whittaker.
He would be my number 2.
And Mavov and Bahayo, whoever wins that matchup, has a better win.
Yep.
I'm just playing devil's advocate.
No, my answer would have been to wait and see what happens with Bahayo and Imavov, because as it sits right now, based on who has the best win, I would say Imavov because he's got the win over Izzy. So if he can get another win over Bahayo, I think it would be hard to deny him, especially if he can do so impressively. But again, at this point, we don't know. So I would honestly guess that the winner of that contest would be it, but still, we would have to see it play out.
Yeah, and I'm throwing out. I'll throw people in the chats who they like. John Butterfield goes with Dorita. Yeah, I agree with. I kind of view them all. Like I'm okay with anybody they call. Like I think they all kind of deserved it. My tiebreaker was one thing. Bahayo weighed in, and that means something to me. He was ready to fight, and we all assume he weighed in case something happened with Chimaev. But say for some reason something happened with Du Plessis. Du Plessis weighed in way later than Chimaev did yesterday. Say something happened with Du Plessis. He was willing to step up and fight Chimaev on a day's notice. So because of that, I'm going the winner of Bahayo and Imavov.
Yeah. The only problem is you care about it, but does UFC care about it?
I no, they don't. But the problem is, does any of them really?
Oh yeah.
I mean, you have the A side. You have your
Yeah.
A side.
Oh yeah.
Exactly. I don't think the UFC has enough vested in any of those four to really put one ahead of the other, to be honest. So I just think whoever probably is most deserving in this case, which is kind of a surprise because usually the UFC doesn't play that.
Londo says Fluffy first, Dorita second. Yeah. Ivan Report goes with the winner Bio and Marvel. And I think that they actually would go in with the biggest win.
Especially if it's Imavov, because he's the win over Izzy, and Bio really only has that win over Cannonier, who we just saw lose again, tonight.
Yeah.
So
honestly, if you go in name value,
MVP is dude.
If you go name value and you go New York City, say you're saying, hey, we're in New York City too. We can't throw some guy that nobody knows. Michael Page is the guy. He's the flashy guy. He's the one that my friends are more likely to call about.
I'd be excited to see.
His best highlights are in Bellator.
You could freeze frame some of the Cannonier fight tonight.
Yeah, I guess.
Just stop it right before Cannonier recovers.
All right, I'm gonna go back to a comment like someone put in the chat, and people are gonna troll me before we move on. I'm gonna throw it out there. I will go to my fucking grave saying this. I don't give a shit what anybody says. I still think the hardest stylistic matchup in the UFC for Chimaev, still to this day, is Bo Nickel. I will still say Bo Nickel.
It's not RDR?
No, it's Bo Nickel. But Bo Nickel can get some experience. The problem is,
and some brass knuckles.
The problem is, I think he's too distracted. He's doing the Real American Freestyle Wrestling thing. Yep. He's doing podcasting. He's coaching at Penn State. He's got too many.
He does not look like he wants to be an MMA fighter anymore.
Yeah, I think he's I think he's doing it. I think they pay him a lot of money, but I don't know if he's as committed as he should be. And back to someone's comment, I think they were just trolling me. I love
it. I love it, Keith.
But they're like, Keith probably still thinks Bo Nickel would beat Chimaev in a wrestling match. In a straight wrestling match, Bo Nickel would pin him in freaking 10 seconds. The problem is you don't know anything about wrestling. You think you know wrestling because you watch MMA. Because Chimaev comes in diving on takedowns. Well, guess what? Bo Nickel wouldn't be standing up in an MMA stance. He would be down in a wrestling stance. So he'd be crowded over. They had a freestyle wrestling match. And then Chimaev would have to first get through his hands. Then he'd have to get through his head. And then he'd have to get through his hips. You don't even know what the fuck I'm talking about right now. But 8-year-olds in wrestling rooms know exactly what I'm talking about. They know about the line of defenses. You don't even know what I'm talking about. He would not stand a fucking chance in a straight wrestling match. All right. Enough. That's not Bo Nickel. Chimaev's the man. MMA. Chimaev. We destroy Bo right now. Okay.
At least you said that last part.
Yeah. But a straight wrestling match.
A straight wrestling match.
You want me to be even bolder?
He's always said that, though.
You want to be even bolder?
Yes.
In a straight wrestling match? A guy who got knocked out by a spinning elbow in the co-main event? Maybe be able to beat Chimaev, even giving up 40 pounds in a straight wrestling match. A straight wrestling match.
That is bold.
I might be going to the extreme.
That is bold.
That's bold.
That's not a weight. I would say this. If you gave me Pico with plus money, plus 200, I'd probably take that bet. All right. In the co-main event, we don't have this in MMA, but like, you know how you have and I know Dev has no idea what I'm talking about, but like baseball, you'll have like minor league prospects and this is a Byron Buxton can't miss prospect and this and that.
I don't know about the minor league.
You have NFL drafts and stuff. Aaron Pico was that guy. Aaron Pico came in. I don't want to say LeBron. He wasn't LeBron, but like that. No, not that hype, but the hype. He was the next big thing. Young, boxing background, world-class wrestling.
The Caitlin Clark?
I don't know enough about female basketball, but maybe. He took on Lerone Murphy. Lerone Murphy won by first round TKO. I want to put Pico to the side for a second. Let's talk about Murphy. First of all, the KO of the year candidate.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I think the
Well, I
KO
just-
of the year is done. I think it's done. I think Gilbert, I can't think of his first name, Gilbert Smith's son might have it wrapped up. The power bomb he had. What's his first name? Gilbert Smith's son.
Elijah Smith.
Elijah, yes.
Yeah. But
Yeah, that was a
There's a lot of competition for that this year. We'll just put it that way, though.
yeah,
there's a lot of competition on this fight card
tonight. Yeah. I'll say this. Obviously, the KO was incredible. But
Yes.
was it a great performance from Murphy?
No.
No, not at all.
All right, take it away. Why don't you guys take it away?
I'll start. It's really funny because Dane called me on this. The stream I was watching was about a minute or slow behind, and I put into the Sherdog Slack. I just don't think Lerone Murphy is dangerous enough to hurt Aaron Pico. This could look like this for the rest of the fight because Pico wasn't just winning, he was like dominating. And then Lerone Murphy took an angle and threw a perfectly timed spinning elbow and just timed Aaron Pico's crazy forward pressure and fucking killed him. It was funny in the moment because my stream was behind and Dane's like, there you go, Dev. So I'm expecting something to happen. Even though I was privy to something, I did not fucking expect that. Like, that was a detonation. And that goes to show Lerone Murphy has a lot of composure and is a very thoughtful fighter.
Yeah. I couldn't put it any better, so I'm not going to try to. But the thing is that finish was impressive enough that was exactly what Murphy needed. Like, the fight could have gone.
You forget
like
everything else.
Yeah. The Pico could have been doing that for 2.5 rounds, and then Murphy gets that finish, and that's exactly what he needed because Murphy was undefeated up to that point, but he had a reputation as a boring fighter. Now he's got that highlight reel knockout. That might be enough to push him into the title fight with Volkanovski because we all know that even though Evloev's extremely deserving, for whatever reason, the UFC brass doesn't like him. They don't want to put him into a title fight. So Murphy might have just snatched it away.
Yeah, we'll get to the matchmaking in a second. I agree with everything you said. You know what he reminds me of? And I know not the style, but the rise that he's had. It reminds me a little of DDP. It reminds me a little like Brian Ortega, where you watch these fights, and as they're winning, you're like, man, he never looks that impressive, but he always finds a way to win. And that's like, I remember watching Brian Ortega and be like, yeah, Brian Ortega was losing to Renato Moicano. He was losing Clay, and then he came back. And that's kind of how I feel a little. I mean, I said it about Derrida in the past. Yeah. It's like, I've never been that impressed. They find ways to win. And that's kind of what Murphy's doing. Pico was putting on him. Pico, I don't know if people call, I don't think the broadcast called it. Pico stunned him immediately to start the fight. He caught him with a shot
away.
And he stumbled. And then Pico clinched with him. And I'm like, dude. And you know me, I'm always like, Pico needs to wrestle more. And that was the one time he shouldn't have wrestled. He had him hurt, and he should have swung for the fences. He might have been able to put him out right away. He hated the pressure from Pico early. He hated the physicality for Pico. Now, the top guys in the division, say what you want about Pico. Pico is his peak when it comes to physicality. Like, Alex Volkanovski can't put that kind of physicality out on you.
He is missing his kryptonite, his one kryptonite, and this is something that's clearly just evident and it's going to really, really F him up at men's 145 at the highest level. Is you can't just be a hammer in the UFC's featherweight division. The second this dude gets touched, he does the Aaron Pico thing where he just gets knocked absolutely dead. And there's guys like Gene Silva, Diego Lopez in this division that are durable as fuck, and we'll see. I mean, could Gene Silva just time a beautiful counter and flatten Aaron Pico? Yeah. I bet I would be very confident he would do that.
I think that's a good example when you're talking about someone who could be very physical back. Like, that's somebody that could be a problem for Lerone Murphy.
Yeah.
Someone who can be very physical. But Lerone Murphy's undefeated. I mean, he needed this.
He's good.
He needed this TKO, as Dane mentioned. He's 9-0-1 in the UFC. That, like, I've never been like, oh my god, Murphy. When I've seen Murphy, I've never been like, oh my god, this guy's the next champion. But you can't ignore a guy who's been in 10 UFC fights and he has a single loss yet. He's 16-0 in his career. I mean, we're talking about. I mean, there's a good chance he's fighting for the title next. Are you guys viewing him as that level? Like, can he win the title?
With an aged Volkanovski as the current champion, I am not confident in. It's anyone's game right now with Topuria gone, Holloway gone. I think Gene Silva will probably be the champion in a year, but who knows?
If Gene Silva starches Diego Lopez, and obviously that's a big if, but if he does that, can't you see the UFC just jumping Murphy and giving Silva that fight?
1,000%. Fighting nerds too. That's another thing that he's got on his side.
Yeah, absolutely. Pico, you kind of referred to. I kind of tweeted this out. Pico has this fight to me almost capitalizes Pico's, like, it just represents Pico's career in a nutshell. And what I mean by that is Aaron Pico will look incredible and then find a way to lose. And it always seems unlucky. I think of
and it's detonation.
Yeah. I think about oh God, who was the guy that threw the flying knee, hit him? He was winning the entire fight.
Borks.
Yeah, Borks.
Adam Borks.
Yeah, Adam Borks. He was winning the entire fight, and then Borks throws a flying knee and knocks him out. He's teeing off, beating the shit out of Henry Krause, going to go in for a knockout, and Krause lands the blow before it knocks him out. He's looking. I'm like, oh my God, he might put Murphy out, and I'm like, wow, this is going to be one of the best UFC debuts of all time. To suddenly out cold, and an elbow that could be a career-changing elbow. That's Aaron Pico.
He woke up too, man. Like, he was out for a while. Like, you could still see his 2 feet separate like this while they were raising Lerone Murphy's hand, which I was like, can we shift them a little bit and do a different fucking camera angle so there doesn't look like there's like roadkill in the background here. I'm afraid that this is how Pico's UFC career may look moving forward. He's a big name. They're paying him a ton of coin. They're gonna probably put him in a bunch of tough matches as well. If I don't know, I don't have a ton of high hopes.
The first thing I would suggest if I was friends with Aaron Pico, I'd be like, dude, leave Greg Jackson team. Like, that team was the team. That was the team of early 2000s. That's not the same team anymore.
No. To kind of put a perspective on it, when Greg Jackson's team was hot, about the same amount of time is between there and now, between when the Lion's Den was hot. That's like, okay. So like the Lion's Den. Okay, so
Greg the Lions Den. Lions Den. Sorry, I just didn't hear you said the Lions Den.
So basically 2011, 2012 is when that was hot. That was 13, 14 years ago. You put 13, 14 years from when they were hot back to the late 90s. That's when the Lion's Den was hot. So that's like saying, the Lion's Den is the hot shit at that time.
Or the Hammer House.
That's a
lot
of time. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's good. I mean, I guess John Jones extended it out long. I don't know he left, but he extended that run a little bit longer. But it was just him. It was him
and Holly Holm.
Yeah, but yeah, I agree. Their real peak. They might not have the champions, but their real peak was when Rashad Evans was coming up, Diego Sanchez was coming up. Like, all those people all popped up in the same place at the same time. And there's a couple other guys on top of my head, but that was when Greg Jackson team was really, really, the thing. Let's hold off on Murphy for a second. Let's match meet Pico.
I would say Josh Emmett.
Dude, we got the same person. I think Josh.
Nice.
Dev, what'd you got?
I'm going Josh Emmett too, and this could look exactly the same. And it could look worse.
Yeah. I'm all for it. Lerone Murphy. I mean, I can see the argument for Evloev. I can see the argument for Murphy getting a title shot. I can see the argument for Gene Silva if he beats Diego Lopez. To me, the difference between I do think Evloev has better wins than Murphy, but I'm arguing 16-0 over 9-0.
Yeah.
If I'm
Yeah.
Murphy, I'm saying I get 9 wins just in the UFC.
And he's got the
I get your
UK
career
thing too,
music.
man. That UK thing, he could be, you know, they could put him as a co-main event under Tom Aspinall or something like that. Like
Oh, I don't hate
that's
that.
him being in the UK is always going to be beneficial for him.
Yeah, the
throw in
only
the
one I
fact-
get is I don't think Volkanovski's an undercard fighter anymore.
Yeah, and
He
you know, the
might
other
be.
problem that Evloev has is he has exactly 0 finishes. You know, and that's what people have been complaining about with Murphy, and he just got the most spectacular
go
finish
on.
you can get. Yeah,
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a really, really good point. So your UFC, so what? Just for record for matchmaking, I'm giving him the title shot. I'm saying
I'm with
you.
you.
Know what? Oh, we lost I think Dev's connection.
Yeah, he said something about his charger.
Okay. Oh, I
Okay,
didn't
yeah,
see that.
he'll be back. He'll be back. Okay.
All right. All
But
right,
yeah, no, I'm 100% with you. I say give it to Murphy because you know Volk's been on the sideline long enough. He's got to defend it at some point, and if he wants to have a greater chance of success, the sooner he defends it, the better. Because at this point, we've already seen age taking a toll on Volk, so I think the sooner the better for him.
Jake C said no former Bellator fighter should ever be favored in UFC again in their first fight. I don't think. Well, I mean that might be a good point. I mean, I guess it depends who they're fighting, but I think his general point stands. But who else from Bellator would the UFC want? Who else is there?
Yeah, there's not really anybody.
You know, I mean, I get the general point. I understand the general point.
Maybe Nemkov, but.
Yeah. Jake said minus Kayla. Kayla didn't fight that. Oh, PFL. Fair enough. Fair enough. All right, he corrected himself. Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Yes, like you mentioned Nemkov, Jusek. Yeah, I think Nemkov. But again, depends who he fights.
Yeah.
Yeah, if he's fighting Ankalaev, probably favoring Ankalaev.
I would favor Ankalaev in that fight, but it's still a fight I would like to see. Antoine Willis is right. If we are including PFL, Ditchikova, 100%. But again, we did say Bellator, so.
All right, that's back. So Dev, so just for matchmaking purposes, both me and Dane we're giving Murphy the title fight. What are you doing, Murphy?
I think he should fight the loser of the Gene Silva and Diego Lopez fight.
So he's not even in the title picture yet for you.
I think he would still be in the title picture, especially if
So let me ask you this question. What if Diego Lopez beats Gene Silva? Then who fights Volkanovski? You can't
at
do
that point.
Lopez.
It's either Evloev or Murphy at that point, as far as I'm concerned.
If he goes out there and knocks Gene Silva dead, Monster is, when I see these Monster Energy commercials that's got Diego Lopez in it, everyone loves Diego Lopez anytime they put a camera on that dude. He did have a moment against Volk. Volk's known to run back fights with people when holding up the rest of the division. He did it with Max Holloway 3 times. I would.
Yeah, but hold on. I'm not asking you what the UFC will do. I'm saying you're in charge. What would you do?
If he sparks out,
you're in charge. No one can say no. You're in charge. You're the supreme emperor of the world.
If Diego Lopez sparks out Gene Silva and knocks him out, he would still probably be the most deserving of a title shot, even if it's a rematch in a fight that he probably lost, based off of who else is out there.
Oh. All right. I don't know.
Like Evloev is not interesting. He's always injured. The UFC is not going to put that dude in. And quite frankly, I haven't seen anything from him to tell me that he needs to be fighting for a title. He did beat Diego Lopez, but he can't get his health in order, and the UFC doesn't seem to love him. And Lerone Murphy, Aaron Pico was unranked.
We talked about Aaron Pico, and we said that he might need to change teams. What are the teams he might? I mean, he might pick up a little bit more Portuguese. I think he should go look up the fight nurse.
Or go join the Dagestanis. He's got one or the other because he's got the wrestling base.
I don't think he needs Dagestan because he has the wrestling.
Well, if he joins the Dagestanis, if he joins
teach him how to just really rely on that wrestling.
He can grow himself a nice beard, and maybe that'll allow him to develop a little bit more of a chin. I don't know.
Yeah, there you go. That might be it. The reason why I was saying that is
He
the
needs a
Fight Nerds
helmet.
the best team? Answer the question real quick. Is the Fight Nerds the best team? Dev. Yes
Is
or no?
Carlos Pratis my 170-pound pick for the Sherdog fantasy? Is Gene Silva my men's featherweight pick?
All right, we got your answer, Dane.
Right now, yes, the Fighting Nerds is the best team. Yes.
They're good.
It's coming to the point where I'm on the fence in the fight. It's the tiebreaker for me. If I'm really, and honestly, when those guys are fighting, I'm not really on the fence. But if it is, that's the tiebreaker for me. This fight, so obviously that leads into Carlos Pratis versus Jeff Neal, where Pratis won by first round knockout with a spinning back elbow, back to back. First he did it, busted. Not only did he spin back, but had
Fucking
Jeff Neal's head gushed in, and then right after LeBron Murphy put Pico out. But to me, this was a difference between like Neal, who had like this tight. He wanted to be technical. He wanted to keep everything tight inside, which is great. Versus the guy who had all the tools, and there was just levels to the striking and the size. I knew Pratis was big enough, but holy shit, he looked huge.
He's got that like long-armed, like long torso, but just long arms. And from the south, like with his southpaw cross, like he was hitting Jeff Neal outside of Jeff Neal's kicking range. Like he's able to cover so much distance. This was, I mean, he kind of figured out his back foot game. You know, Ian Gary kind of exposed Carlos Pratis' back foot striking game a little bit. He seemed to do a little bit better with all the pressure from Jeff Neal. I really liked his knees. You know, even when he got pressured up against the cage, he was able to kind of bob and weave, you know, use his high guard and circle out. And then just timing that forward pressure, like, it looked like somebody hit Jeff Neal in the side of the head with like a meat cleaver or a hatchet. Like, when was the last time you saw someone get knocked out and they rushed to the person with like gauze to stop the bleeding? Like,
I don't know.
Chris Weidman and Yoel Romero is like what it reminded me of just like the concussive blow and then the fucking blood.
I don't know, Apollo Creed and Rocky IV, maybe. I don't know.
Well, beyond that too, though,
Collecting his blood.
The noise that made too, you know, because like a lot of time you hear a smack, and that was more of a
clunk.
thunk. Yeah, that was just wow. I can't remember the last time a spinning elbow or a kick or anything like that made that type of noise. That was nasty.
but Keith has a wall hook for each of his head. I have multiple wall hooks. That's true.
I thought you would have worn a Buc-ee's hat since you just came back from Texas, but
I did visit Buc-ee's. I went to what was the name of the city? So I've been to the Buc-ee's in Denton, which was huge. This one was a little bit small, still massively big. It wasn't in Galveston; it was near Galveston. I can't remember. Texas City, maybe that's what it was called. Texas City or something like that. It would be that hard to remember Texas City, but guys, I need to sleep.
You've been like Johnny Cash. You've been everywhere, man.
Yeah, I have. So to me, what stood out to me in this fight was Pratis. Like, I'm watching this and I'm like, this is gonna end bad when I watch this. And Pratis was measuring him with every shot, and every second he was finding his range and had Neal guessing and just couldn't miss. He was measuring the body shots. He was measuring the hooks. I was like, he was measuring the counters. I'm like, he said about 3 minutes in, he had the timing of Jeff Neal, and I'm like, Jeff Neal's going out.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, there was a step in knee.
The way he was like meeting Jeff Neal's pressure with the step knee, he hit him with 2-step knees while Jeff Neal was trying to crush the space. He hit him with 2-step knees, and then when Jeff Neal thought that 3rd step knee was coming, that's when that spinning elbow came. Like,
it was such a good performance. Even take out the spinning elbow. I was watching this and I was like, Pratis could become a champion from the improvement I saw. And again, it's Jeff Neal. It's a step down from what he was fighting, but not a huge step down. No, I mean, say what you want about Jeff Neal. Nobody beats the shit out of Jeff Neal like that.
Not like that. No.
Shavkat didn't do that.
No. Carlos Pratis has now knocked out 2 opponents that have never been knocked out before in the Leech and Jeff Neal. And that's fucking impressive.
That is. I'm sold. Like I'm not
Oh,
saying I'm not. You know how we do the show. I'm not predicting he's gonna win. There's only one guy I ever predicted is gonna win the title. That's Josh Van. I'm still standing on that one. But Prates, I believe, dude. I'm sold.
The way he reaches across and grabs both hands to like measure his
saw that.
distance and then pushes his
Yes.
opponent, like that's what he did when he
love that.
nailed Radke with that knee. But it's like he's just gonna grab your two hands, get his range, force you on the back foot, and then throw that cross and smash you with it. Like he manipulates the guard. Like
he did that when Neil was trying to pressure him. He did that to grab his hands and then push him back to the range he wanted. I was like, this guy's fucking awesome.
He's smart.
Let's matchmake him. I'll start with you, Dan. What do you got for him? So hold on. Before you answer that question, he said he wants Brazil. Dana White said done.
He's gonna get it.
Leave that out. We're in charge of the UFC. You don't have to give me he has to fight in October. We're not predicting what they're gonna do, which sounds like that's what's gonna happen. But you're in charge. You're picking up the call. You call Prates. The other guy you're calling is who?
Leon Edwards.
Okay, so you give him the fight he wants.
Yeah, that's
Edwards is, to me, that's almost a step down based on where Edwards is right now. I'm going, and it's not gonna make sense because Edwards beat my man twice. That I'm going to say, I'll give him Kamaru Usman.
Ooh.
After a great showing in his last fight.
See, the only reason that I won't is because I've got Kamaru booked with Bilal. That's a grudge match. That's a grudge match. So that's why I'm not saying that you got a bad idea there, but that's why I didn't go that route.
Well, Dev, what'd you have for him?
I would not mind even if they put him up against someone like Bilal Muhammad just right away. Just make the jump. He fought in Chicago.
You know Bilal's gonna bring it right to him.
Yep, it'll be a blast. I really do think if I could trust Shavkat's readiness, I would actually probably pick Shavkat. I think that they have kind of a somewhat similar trajectory. And that would just be like, one dude with like no striking defense, but that can grapple versus a dude that's just like a sniper like Prates. But
I just think if Islam wins that title, do you want to risk Islam versus Shavkat? Like risk that battle? I mean, you got Islam who's he'll have one loss, but basically, you could say undefeated for how many years it's been versus undefeated for his career. That's the fight. Yeah. I would want to risk it.
Yeah. But if Prates were to go out there and spark him, then your mind would probably be changed. You'd be like, well, shit.
The problem is if he starts them, you're still gonna have Ian Gary be like, yeah, well, I beat you. But anyways, I mean, we could go. I mean, well, then you'd have a little triangle thing going on too.
The ring around the rosy.
Yeah, a little rock paper scissors thing going on. Yeah, let's go with Jeff Neal real quick. To me, I'm giving Jeff Neal a step down. I'm giving him Danny Rodriguez.
Sure.
I've got Li Jingliang. I figure they've both been completely rocked by Prates. Let's see who has any survivability from that.
Dev, you got a
name? The next table at Texas Roadhouse.
Can I give a shout out? We went to this one restaurant this week twice in Crystal Beach. First of all, if you guys live in Texas, anybody who lives in Texas, and you haven't been to the Boulevard Peninsula, that is one of the coolest places on earth. Really quiet, but beautiful beach. We were right. Dev, you're too young. You're not going to you won't like this reference much, but I know my man Dane would appreciate this. We had the whole family in the Jeep riding down at nighttime, driving on the beaches and driving through the friggin' water, listening to the Beach Boys singing Beach Boys songs. Beautiful weather. First of all, the water in the Gulf of America.
Gulf of what?
The Gulf of America now it's called. I had no idea how warm the water is.
Mm-hmm.
Algae blooms, man.
Dude, it's unbelievable. It's like walking into like a warm bath.
Yep.
Like when you like you like put the water for your kid and you like rub the hand, make sure it's good before you put your kid in.
Yeah. I came in from the other end because I was in Florida when I played in the Gulf of America. But yeah, dude, it's pretty freaking warm.
So Antoine asked, how was the food in Houston? So I only ate in Houston twice. When we got in the airport, we stopped at some it was a Texas chain steakhouse. It was good. I didn't eat steak there. I ate a brisket burger. I always eat when I go down to like different places. I eat whatever like I can't get somewhere else. Or not get somewhere else, but something within known. So I ate a lot of barbecue wings, stuff like that. And then I ate at Nassau with Ben, but it was like pizza. So, but I ate in Galveston and Crystal Beach. But the reason I mentioned that there was a place called the Naughty Beaver in Crystal Beach. That place is fucking awesome. Make sure if you're ever in there, check out that place. And they should sponsor us. It's like a honky tonk bar. My 15-year-old daughter was all happy. She was dancing the honky tonk bar. The live band was playing. I was eating these garlic parm chicken wings. There was cute cowboy hats everywhere. Everyone had like the island life. Man, that's a cool ass place.
And it's called the Naughty Beaver.
Naughty Beaver, yes.
Well, that gives off a different image, but anyway.
Yes, we had a lot of jokes with that. Well, there's a place near us called the Thirsty Beaver. So
they need to meet up.
Antoine, what's the best restaurant around? It's got to be a seafood restaurant. Like insert tons of seafood.
Lobster roll.
Yeah. No. You going if you're doing it, you know all the way. You do the whole lobster, or you're doing scallops or something like that. All right, let's move on. Michael Venom Page is now 2-0 at middleweight in the UFC as he take out former title challenger and top contender Jared Cannonier. I will say this: I had a so-so. I think I went 7-4. We didn't pick the fight that was added this week from the contender series, but overall, and I took some upset. Oh, I hit the opening upset, Joseph Morales. Thank you very much.
Oh,
but I'd say overall, I'd say a decent day in my picks. I don't know how Ben did, but one thing I always say, I don't care about how my picks go, but excuse me, I care how it breaks down. I feel like I called this fight perfectly. I said it was going to be a snoozer, and I thought it was a snoozer.
I can't believe I'm realizing this, and I realized just tonight about MVP is like number one, he won this fight with 2 moments. Like that's all. He won this fight with 2 fucking moments, and he does not even rock his opponents. He is so good at timing. He was hitting Cannonier when Cannonier was on 1 foot off balance. So when he leaps into the pocket, covers an incredible amount of space. Like his ability to cover distance and land one shot, like when you come off 1 foot to throw a low kick, he's boom crushing, jumping and crushing the pocket and just blasting you and knocking you off your feet. Like the 2 moments he dropped Cannonier wasn't like rocked. He was just crushing him when he was like right off balance. And he's so good at like, emphasizing on the moments. He's so good at swagging his way through a fight where like, if he has 2 moments against you and you can't keep up with him with his elusive footwork, it's just going to always look like this, especially at middleweight. Like this is his division to capitalize on this.
I totally agree with Jake C said. MVP is good, but I don't look forward to his fights. I totally agree with you on that.
Yeah.
Dane, take it away.
I can't really add anything. He's got a limited ceiling at middleweight, but at the same time, I still think it's higher than it is at welterweight, just because of the stylistic matchups that he's going to be able to get here. And given the amount, 100%. Yeah,
he's so fast.
And like you said, earlier,
middleweight, there's a lot of guys older. I mean, your top Jared Cannonier is in the top 10. You got Robert Whittaker, who's slowing down. Like, do you have those kind of guys? You have freaking Marvin Vettori. Like, he's still a bad guy list. Like, he's competitive with all those guys. I don't know if he is competitive with the top. I mean, imagine him versus Sean Brady. Imagine what Sean Brady would do to MVP.
If he touched him once, he'd turn him into a pretzel.
Exactly. Sorry to cut you off, Dane. Good.
No, you're good. I was just going to say that earlier you were talking about how, he was kind of a wild card for a potential matchup with Khamzat, and me and Deb both had him down lower, but I completely understood where you were coming from in the sense that he's got fantastic timing. That all he really needs is one shot on Khamzat, and he might be able to become the champion. So, given the amount of money that the UFC spent to sign him, I wouldn't be surprised if they give him a pretty high-profile matchup next that might put him on the verge of contendership.
Plus the window of opportunity, too. He's up there in age.
Yes, exactly.
He doesn't seem like he's slowing down, though.
No,
No.
but he also fights. The way he fights now, he fights at such a slow pace that he could be disguising a lot of things because of that. He has this like hypnotizing style where he can get people to fight at his pace. I get it because coming in and getting blasted in the face by him or blasted by a knee or a kick or something, I get why people aren't, it's easy to say, oh, you got to take him down and just rush in. I get it, but you have to come in and it's like that. As Ben always says, he stole from Lorosenko, like you got to pay that admission, coming in.
And the thing is, he's not stupid either. I mean, you've mentioned it before, how self-aware he is. He's like, yeah, of course they've been feeding me bumps because I'm a star. He's very self-aware. So I think that he knows where he's limited and stuff like that. And he's going to do everything he can to capitalize on that.
Yeah. He's way more entertaining on the mic than he is in the cage. To me, it is fun watching him dodge and elude things. But it's like, fucking dude, like you had it, like I don't know how hard he had it in there, but like put it on him now. Try to knock him out. Try to did he throw a combination the entire fight? And I know it's not like
the second time he hurt Cannonier, he threw 3 punches, and that was the biggest combination he threw.
Okay, so
yeah.
There is things I do like. I don't want to just first of all, this is the biggest, obviously the biggest win of his UFC career, name wise,
and size wise,
Yep, that's a good point. So there's some positives to take.
Takedown defense.
His takedown defense has totally improved
against a huge dude in Cannonier.
His grappling in the third wasn't exciting, but like when he got mounted, he still found a way to get to like half guard instead and get back to that. But like those are some positives. So that's good. The problem is I watch him fight and I feel like a little bit of like the old child's book, the tortoise and the hare. And what I mean by that is he's going to lose to somebody that he's better than simply by not having output and giving the fight away, because you're right. I think you said it perfectly. He had 2 moments.
Yeah.
Well, what if at the very end of the second round or the very end of the first round, Kennedy has 1 moment?
Or the moment doesn't happen.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, that's easy to say, but the point is like he was so much more skilled than Cannonier, but he wasn't taking the opportunity. It's like if you're a football player and I have Jamar Chase on my team and I have Justin Jefferson on my team and I'm like, oh, the cornerback is like some high school cornerback. I'm like, how about we just throw a bomb to Justin Jefferson? He's got to score a touchdown. And we just do it over and over again. But we're like, no, let's like hand off the middle and like you're keeping the team around. Like, why are you keeping him around? Just fucking end him. Yeah. I really feel if he put it on him, he could have ended him. But I see that like every one of MVP's fights. I'm not a fan.
And it also seems too that like, number one, he needs to stay at middleweight because someone is going to throw like some sort of shifting combination, like the way that Jorge Masvidal knocked out Darren Till and like trap him up against the cage with his hands at his arms and fucking kill him. Like that's gonna happen eventually too.
Yeah, it's like what Douglas Lima did with the first one, where he punched
or kick his leg out and then just uppercut his head off.
Yeah,
like,
it was
something's gonna happen.
It's not something you expect. Yeah,
but to go back to what you said, maybe that's why he's masking his age behind this weird and the thing that he just swags his way through these fights where like he's gonna hit you with a jab and then just do some slick footwork and the judges are gonna be like, okay, well clearly like he's winning the mood of this fight because like not a lot of shit's happening. Like he's also just incredible at that too. He's a great actor. Like you touch him, you touch him and you don't know that you've touched him. Like if you're not putting him out even when they land on him. Like Cannonier did land a couple strikes, but like you'd never even know it.
Yeah, no selling is an underrated aspect. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point. Oh, I just real quick. I think we all said we all like him at middleweight over welterweight.
Yeah.
Even though he
definitely.
Okay, so let's matchmake him real quick. Dan, give me a name.
I'm going to say the loser of Imavov and Ohio.
Okay, I don't hate that. Dev, what do you got?
I got a fun one. Paulo Costa.
We got the same one.
Fuck yeah.
I just don't know. I think like them saying crazy shit. The stand.
It'll be great.
Yeah,
it'll be great. It'll be great.
It has to be on a pay-per-view. It's got
Has
to
to
me
be.
like third from the top or
Yep.
or second one on the card. That 3-4 spot.
Yep.
I'm cool. I like that one
The
too.
featured fight.
Yeah.
It's perfect.
Cannonair. I'm using Cannonair. A lot of times when I have Asian guys, I try to get a prospect over, but every once in a while I go, you know what? I don't think this guy's a prospect, but he just kind of deserves a bigger fight. I'm giving him Jung Young Park. The guy just keeps winning.
Park's
Abus.
schedule.
He's scheduled for a fight?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he is. Actually, think he
All right.
is.
Well, you know what then? I don't know who he's scheduled, but I'll give him the winner. Whoever wins. If you beat Jung Young Park, you're pretty damn good too. So I'll go with the winner of whoever. Someone throw in the chat who Jung Young Park is scheduled to fight. What'd you have, Dev?
Abus and Joe Pyfer got matched up on October 4th. They'll be fighting. I like Cannonier to fight the winner of that. If Abus goes out there and beats Joe Pyfer, then he earned it. And if Pyfer beats Abus, like the UFC is going to hand him Jared Cannonier, easy peasy.
Okay. What'd you have, Dane?
Roman Dolidze. Both of them are coming off pretty rough losses.
Kind of like bury the loser, like the loser is kind of done.
Well, I mean, Cannonier's, he's 41 at this point. So, I don't think that it would necessarily be a big loss.
And open up the main card. Kai Asakura took on Tim Elliott. Tim Elliott winning by second round submission. Let's talk about Tim Elliott real quick. He's 37 years old. He's still a really tough out for anybody. But was this more, and I think you guys got to read, was this more about Elliott winning or was this more about Asakura losing?
I think it was really weird. Number one, like Asakura is running this round one flash knockout game, like in the UFC's flyweight division, whose contenders are all durable as shit. Like this isn't gonna, this type of game isn't probably gonna run well for Asakura in the UFC.
It works better at heavyweight than it does at flyweight.
Like it totally. And then like think about Brandon Moreno, Brandon Royval, Josh Van. Like look, all these dudes are durable as fuck. Like he couldn't beat him with a hammer. But also too like that all it took was that takedown from Tim Elliott was the equivalent of slashing all four of Asakura's tires. Like it just changed the fight. Elliott started to land.
Early.
Like
he looked sensational early. And then one takedown, and then he was so worried about getting taken down that suddenly instead of him, Elliott
started to land.
Elliott was on his back foot the whole time, and that like warning track of the whole first round, and instead he like flipped the entire sides of and now suddenly Asakura is the one with his back against the fence, and it was completely different. He looked so bad after that one takedown. Dan, what do you
got? This is more about. You guys, I can't really add much. This is more about Asakura losing. I mean, don't get me wrong. Everybody loves Tim Elliott. He's a fan favorite, I think, just because he's so funky and he's always been a gamer. But at this point, he's also, just under 40 years old, and for flyweight, that is downright ancient. If Asakura was as good as billed, there's absolutely no way he should have been losing this fight. And the fact that he did, I think, is pretty solid proof that UFC is not going to be getting a good return on this investment.
Yeah, he's like a 2013 GMC. Like you're glad if you get it, but you're not like right. That's what Tim Elliott. You're not bragging to your friends like, well, but I'm glad. I'm gonna ask this question: has Asakura been exposed?
I don't know if he's been exposed, but I think we're finding out that being a round one flash knockout artist in the men's flyweight division, like unless you can be like Manel Kopp. Like, and it's not, it's working for him, but it's not super succeeding. He's, and then the takedown, maybe he has been exposed.
If I absolutely have to give a yes or no answer, I'm going to say yes, he's been exposed.
Yeah. That's what we do on the show. I'm gonna go with two. So I know we've talked about this before. When I look at like what I could consider the defensive grappling, there's kind of like three categories. And in this case, he's really shown. I mean, I'm going to give him a pass on the sub because Elliott has a great.
That was awesome. That shit
happens. And that shit happens. Like people get caught. You weren't ready. You weren't expecting it. It happens. Okay. The other two categories, I always said, you could be a bad defensive wrestler if you got a good get-up game.
No.
Okay. You can have a bad get-up game like Michael Page if you got a pretty decent takedown defense, which Page has actually kind of improved. The problem is Asker has holes in both of them. Yep. He needs to find one of them and fix that immediately. And I think he needs to leave Japan.
No, I agree. I was actually running through my mind maybe something like Team Alpha Male. I know that they're not at their peak, but they've got as many little bodies as any other camp has, and they tend to be pretty good at wrestling. So,
yeah, get him with Rinya Nakamura quick.
You know what I'm getting them with? You know what I'm getting them with? What team right now could use his athleticism? Say what you want. His athleticism is off the charts. He's super fast. He's long. Get him with the fight nerd.
Get him.
Who could use this? You telling me Pratis can't?
Gene Silva, Mauricio Hufi. They can show him how to
use that speed and that advantage and movement and hell yeah, dude. The answer to me lately might always be get him with the fight nerds. But
part of the reason I throw out Team Alpha Male is they've got a history with like
little guys.
Rinya, and then exactly. But I think you're probably right. Fighting nerds probably would be better if he'd be willing to go down there. The question that I have is the culture acclimation with regards to
that. Yeah. But like step out of your comfort zone if you want to. I mean, say what you want about it, and you know what's the crazy thing? Japan actually has an incredible wrestling scene.
They did great this Olympics. They were the
best team. They were the best team.
Fucking won it all.
They did. Yeah.
I don't know why I can't think of his name. But the other flyweight, our flyweight male. He just won. I can't think of his name right now, but he's Japanese, and maybe they can get together. Men's flyweight, young kid.
What are you talking about? MMA fighter?
Yeah. In this division.
Tyra?
Yeah, get him with Tyra. Get him with Tatsuro Tyra.
No.
Well, the only thing I would also say, so I'm not saying but obviously if you go back to like not many Japanese fight, I mean there's a couple of them, but like I think like Takanori Gomi in his pride, his the negative of his game was always takedown defense.
Yeah.
Well, so
non-existent.
What I would do with so either I'd have him. I don't mind Team Alpha Male. I don't mind the fight nerds. How about just go to Dagestan? There's another one. Let's matchmake him real quick. I'm trying to get him win, but still be tested. Give me Cody Durden.
I'm actually thinking along the same lines as Heavy Man Report. Ode Osborne. I think that would be a fun fight.
Okay. Dev, what do you
got? Do they try to get him a win, or do they just like redo the Tagyur Ulanbekov thing? I don't know.
I think that'd be a really bad matchup for him.
But
Tim Elliott, to me, like when I asked the question, like I'm glad he got this win and his stock goes up a little bit, but I match him against another veteran. I put him against Alex Perez.
Same. I did like what he said in the post fight, where he said, even when I'm not winning, I'm winning. Like that just shows like his mentality. The dude's had a tough, the stuff he had going on with Gina Mazzani and all that crap, in his somewhat recent past. Like he had some real tough stuff happen to him. So I don't mind seeing Tim Elliott win, and I think him moving up and fighting Alex Perez would be cool.
Dan, you got something for him?
I'm leery about really moving him up. Like I said, we talked about his age. He had a title fight already about 8 years ago. I don't know if it's reasonable to really move him that up. I still like the idea of him playing gatekeeper. So the name that I had was Alan Nascimento.
Okay,
sure.
Antoine will ask. He's asked a couple times, and I was going to answer it, and I forgot. Do you think Gable Stevenson will translate safely to MMA? I think he has all the tools they could. His athleticism is off the charts. His wrestling's off the charts. I think if imagine what Brock Lesnar did, and think of a guy who's even somehow, as crazy as it sounds, more athletic than Brock Lesnar and an even better wrestler. Does it translate well to MMA? Well, it depends how serious he takes it. Depends coaching and how well he transitions to striking.
Getting punched.
Obviously, the heavyweights, guys like Aspinall, stuff like that, is better than the days that Lesnar has. But I think if you put Gable Stevenson in the heavyweight division 25 years ago, he's a Hall of Famer, greatest of all time type heavyweight.
I
he needs a lot of hard sparring.
Yeah, I will say this. So I thought that he had a better future in MMA even before he signed with WWE, just because I didn't think that he had the charisma needed for the WWE, so to speak. So I kind of feel sad that he wasted the time there. I would have loved to have seen him getting more training with MMA, but I think everything that Keith said is absolutely right.
The worst thing is he didn't get to go to the Olympics, and he could have won the Olympics again. He already won it once. He probably could have won it again. Because of it. All right, so this is what I'm going to do real quick, if this is okay with you guys, and I'll get out of here soon. Can we skip down get out of order for the prelims?
Sure.
Let's do it.
And I'll go over the three prelims I got to see, and then I'll let you guys take the rest of the show.
Cool.
We're going to go all the way down because I wasn't going to skip this. You know what? Actually, what I'm going to do? Guys, I was watching, but fuck it, guys. I was watching it. I was doing shit at the airport. I would say Lupi Godinez, somehow in a biggest win, it makes me give up on her. She picked the biggest win of her career, and somehow I still don't believe her. I believe in her less after beating Jessica Andrade, a former champion. But hey, I'm going to let you guys stay in order instead of my doing stuff in the airport, missing stuff. So I'll let you guys take it over. So that's all for me, guys. I hope you guys appreciate it. I came all the way from Texas. Didn't want to miss this one. But real quick, I will be doing the preview show for UFC China either tomorrow night at 9:00. If I don't, I have something going on. If I can't do it at 9:00, I'm going to do it Monday night. Ben's on vacation this week. I'm just because I was doing it on the beach. I'm just going to blast it. I'm going to do it live. So we're going to do a live preview on either tomorrow night or Monday night. So make sure I need everyone in the chat jump with me. It's a China card. I was going to ask these two guys to preview with me because that's some tough preview. And anyways, so
Shiming, she's back. Shiming is back.
There you go. So here you go. Dev, Dane, you guys are the best. You guys take it over here. I'm gonna peace out. I'm just gonna take myself off the screen because I don't know if I
thank you, Keith.
Close out. Just and you guys do the rest of the thing. See you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I guess we will just keep trucking down the card. That is the main card. Head of the prelims. Sangar Susarkayev defeats Eric Nolan. Submission in the second round. What do you think of Susarkayev? Do you feel like super confident in him moving forward?
There's a lot of things that I kind of took out of this fight. Me and you talked about it in the chat already a lot. So what I say is not necessarily going to surprise you. Number one, the fact that he was able to make 185 twice in a week, and both of them were short notice, not just one of them, but both. I think that he could very easily end up at 170 because being able to make that weight twice indicates that he's not cutting too much. And the other thing is, though, and it very well could be that the fact that this was short notice and another weight cut, maybe that explains part of the reason why he didn't look so good. But he's still got some work to do if he was getting pieced up by Nolan the way that he was in the first round, because Nolan came dangerously close to finishing him before being saved by the bell. So Susarkayev I think he's still got a bright future, but I'm a little bit leery about putting all the promotional weight behind him that the organization has been.
Yeah, and Tom Nolan's knee blew up.
Yep.
Like this wasn't this wasn't some like, beautiful takedown, into side mount, into the arm triangle. Like this Susarkayev was kind of getting beat up quite badly on the feet. And I didn't like his reactions to getting hit. Like he'd get buzzed up, clearly buzzed, and then kind of just like smile it off where, buddy, you need to have a little more composure and respect for your opponents. If you got a guy that's not in the UFC showing up on also 4 days notice, up a division with no training camp, really putting the screws to you like that. Like Susarkayev would just get this high guard and Nolan would rip shots around the side on the outside of his guard, clip him behind the ear. He's a teammate of Khamzat Chimaev, so clearly he's in a good camp. He may be able to go to 170. He's young. Maybe he'll just beef up a little bit and put on a little more muscle mass and stay at middleweight. From my opinion, if you're fighting at 185 or you're fighting at 170 and you can make both weight classes, you're probably just better off fighting at middleweight, just because the division is like not
unless you're Kevin Holland. But
yeah, unless you're Kevin Holland with that type. But with his Kevin Holland never wanted to beef up either. He just wanted to like smoke weed and eat gas station burritos and show up for a fight. I'm going to need to see a lot. This is not how I felt about Khamzat, like in his UFC debut doing the short notice stuff. This is very different.
Yeah. And the other part is I didn't get to see anything on Eric Nolan prior to the fight. So he's very,
I called him Tom Nolan, Eric Nolan.
But that's kind of the point, I was fairly impressed with him. And maybe he is that good. Maybe this was just him rising to the moment and overplaying himself. I don't know, but I still want to see more out of Susarkayev before I say that the hype is real.
I agree, and I think we're gonna need to see it. At middleweight, before that, we had Michelle Olejniczuk knocking out GM3 in the first round. Dude, poor GM3 was like consistently, after this fight was over, they had his knockout and then they went right into a promo for the main event. So we just saw him getting knocked out by Khamzat again. And I'm like, this fucking poor guy, dude. Like is this a good performance from Michelle Olejniczuk? Is this a typical GM3 performance? Was this a bad GM3 performance, or is it all of the above?
I definitely think it's both a good performance from Oleksiejczuk and definitely a bad performance from Meerschaert. Meerschaert looked slow even for him, and given that he's frequently been called the slowest middleweight on the roster, that's really saying something. But Oleksiejczuk did exactly what he was supposed to do. He knocked him down several times, and rather than rush into Meerschaert's guard and potentially give him what he wanted, he was patient and
smart.
He kept knocking him down, and he didn't go for the kill until he felt like Meerschaert was sufficiently dazed, and it played out perfectly. It was brilliant on Oleksiejczuk's part.
He's a good boxer. He's got good power. Yeah. He finally seems to be like a little tiny bit more beefy, but he's never going to be the biggest dude at 185. Michelle Olejniczuk could probably realistically be a welterweight. But I think being at middleweight, being with the fighting nerds, being a crafty, good, powerful, boxer out of the southpaw is always going to be good. I love the way he ripped to the body and then he ripped that shot behind GM3's ear, fucking, ruined his equilibrium, sent him back to the ground. And I was still a little bit nervous when he followed him to the ground. Even the second time, the first time he dropped him, he let him come back up. Yep. But no, he must have saw something that I didn't see. He knew Gerald Meerschaert was hurt. And boy, yeah, fighting nerds, Michelle Olejniczuk. He's knocking dudes out. He's putting wins together. Like,
do you like that call out he made?
Who was this call out? I must have missed it.
Vettori.
Sounds good to me.
I think it's a little bit much. I know that Vettori's stock has fallen, but his wins are against who was it? The first one.
Dumas is in there.
Remember. Yeah, Dumas. That might have been Dumas, and now Meerschaert doesn't look good. I think that might be a little bit too much too soon, but I don't know. Maybe the UFC gives it to him.
he's on the team Fighting Nerds. They seem to get, good matchmaking. Not good, when I say favorable, I mean the matches that they want. And it's middleweight. Like, Vittori's definitely going down, and if Olajaychuk's going up, maybe they meet somewhere in the middle, and maybe the UFC,
Yeah, it's possible.
Yeah, whatever,
Anyway, yeah.
And then for Mearshart, I think he's like, if this isn't it for him, he's one more away from,
Yeah, I'll spoil it. He's on my cut list.
Yeah, poor guy. Before that, Keith alluded to this fight, and we'll get right into it. Jessica Andrade, Lupi Godinez won via kind of, interesting decision.
Keith kind of already, said that it was a weird performance. There's a couple of things to take from it in the sense that it was a stand-up fight, and she beat Jessica Andrade. So, you hear that Lupi Godinez beats Jessica Andrade at the type of fight that Jessica Andrade typically wins. That sounds like a brilliant, brilliant performance. But then again, this was also the type of fight where if we're taking pride scoring, Andrade won.
Lupi has kind of gotten tired and kind of gassed out in a lot of these recent fights, even her last fight against Pilastri that she won, where she's like, her boxing looks crispy, her takedowns look good in the first round, and then that just fell off a cliff, and Andrade just kept marching forward, kept punching the body, kept landing big shots over the top. Andrade, I mean, if she just had a lick more of defensive responsibility, this fight could have probably been even more one-sided. Like, if she just kept her right hand up next to her head, because anytime she would throw, Lupi would kind of just, pull counter it. But eventually it got to the point where Lupi was just tired, getting hit by the big power from Andrade. I hate to see the fight end the way it did and Lupi win that type of fight.
Yeah.
Because I don't know if she's going to go back and be like, this is something I need to learn from. She seems to be in good physical shape. So I don't know how much better she can make her cardio. Maybe this is just what we have with Lupi Godinez. Her having a neck and neck fight with Jessica Andrade in 2025 is this seems to be her highest level.
No, and it's possible that maybe just anxiety, because it's pretty ballsy to engage in a stand-up fight with Jessica Andrade, and maybe she just was a little bit anxious with that, and that sapped her energy. I don't know. I'm just speculating here. But rather than crap on her the whole time, I'll admit Lupi looked very good the first round. She looked more technical than I can remember on the feet. So there's definitely positives to take away from it, but there's not as many positives to take away as I feel like there should be when you just look at the result on paper.
She needs to go and get on the, I forget the name. I don't know why I can't think of the name, the biking machine where you do your hands. That's what she needs to go and get on, apparently, because if she could have just, played that first round out for 2.5 more rounds, and maybe she loses the last 2 minutes of the third round. Okay. I wouldn't think the same way, but the difference between her in the first and the back half of the second round was two different fighters. And then in the third round, it was this is not even the same, not close. This is almost like what we expected, Khamzat versus Dricus to look like if, so one-sided in one round. And then by the time, the third round transpired, we're
Yeah. Do you got any ideas for matchmaking on that one? I mean, Lupi is a top 10.
Let her fight. Yeah. Marina Rodriguez just retired. Mackenzie Dern?
Didn't she fight Dern?
I don't know.
Or no.
I know Andrade did.
Oh, who hasn't Andrade fought? I'm going to say Yan Xiaonan. Xiaonan's coming off a loss. She's already lost in a title fight, so it's kind of hard to know exactly where to go with her. So I figure that's a solid test for Lupi to see if she can take the next step.
Yeah, Dern beat Lupi, so maybe I don't. Yeah, Jan's on. Yeah, Lemos maybe. She lost to Angela Hill. That one's hard.
Yeah.
Maybe they give her like Yasmin Lucindo. Maybe they're like, hey, Yasmin Lucindo, we want to give you another test, someone that's in the rankings.
That one's possible, but I also like to think, you know what, if there's somebody who's a little bit older, you know, I would rather leave open the possibility of future contests with somebody who's a little bit younger. So that's why I kind of go with Jan. But anyway, that's not a bad idea either. Anyway, what was the next one?
Ooh, this one was this is one that I put into the Sherdog Slack. I'm gonna call this, and you were in there with me. Like after Hernandez crushed Chase Hooper with those like first two kind of pull counters where he like just pulled Hooper's forward momentum and hit him with like just straight clean shots. I was like, I don't like how clean Chase Hooper gets hit. And like fucking 40 seconds later, he is kind of getting scraped up off the canvas. Dude, Hernandez looked good. Like, and unfortunately for Chase Hooper, like this is probably going to happen to him every 3 fights where he's going to get an easy, you know, the UFC seems to like the kid. He's going to probably get, you know, another softball in his next fight. He'll submit somebody and then he'll get a bit of a step up, but still a fight where he's favored to win, and he'll submit somebody and then they'll, you know, move him up and he'll fight someone like a Terrence McKinney or something and then just get his head blown off again. And it'll just be like this revolving door for Hooper. I don't think he's just not athletic enough, and he does not have good vision with the striking. Like you can see he's adding offensive components to his striking, but like his shot reaction, he can't see punches coming and he just gets hit so fucking clean. Like this fight, the Steve Garcia fight, like these are fights that are just going to probably happen to this kid.
Yeah. No, as Hooper's been making this nice little run, you know, I keep thinking, you know, he's got a ceiling. I don't want to crap on the kid because he's obviously a hard worker and he's really refined his craft to the point where he's at now. And I will admit, I didn't think that Hernandez was going to be the one to expose him in this sense, largely just because I don't trust Hernandez fight IQ. But credit to him, this was actually probably the smartest fight that he's fought in the UFC, because a lot of other fights he's just kind of gutted it out because he's the better athlete or whatever. But no, this time he actually fought a very smart fight. And holy crap, that counter that he had was just automatic throughout this fight. He just continually nailed him. So
he landed it 3 times clean, and by the 3rd time he landed it, it was just like lights out. And it just seemed like 3 minutes into the first round, I'm like, this is just blatantly obvious.
Yeah, it was academic.
Like it seemed inevitable. Like Chase Hooper. Yep. And I don't know if that's something, you know, he's a grappler by trade, a BJJ guy by trade. Like, I don't know if this is something he'll ever get.
Yeah.
And finding out this way is not how you get it.
No. Anyway.
Early prelims, we had a close fight. We had Drakkar Klose defeat Edson Barboza. Yeah, that's all of them. Sorry, I thought I missed one. We had Drakkar Klose defeat Edson Barboza. How did you score this fight?
I had it for Barboza 29-28, but this one very easily could have gone the other way. I have no problem with Klose being the winner.
Klose could have and should have capitalized like more on this moments like that he had in the second round where like he buzzed Barboza. Barboza's at the point of his career where like anytime he gets clean now, he's not able to have like a back and forth exchange with his opponents where he'll get hit and then he can fire back. Now every time he gets hit and he absorbs punishment, it just causes him to reset. And you combine that with his like, you know, they say crowd the kicker is how you defeat a kicker. You take the kicking away from them. That's always been Edson Barboza's problem, but it just so happens that forward pressure and crowding the kicker is forcing him on the back foot becomes his kryptonite. And you just kind of like marry that with his age and the way he reacts to strikes now. He looks like he's in incredible physical shape. And, you know, he did land some nice leg kicks. Like he looked okay here. And 5 years ago, he would have probably flattened Drakkar Klose. But this fight shouldn't have been as close as it was, I don't think.
No, absolutely not. Like Barboza had a nice little string of very quality strikes in the second round, which is the main reason that I gave him the fight, because the second round I think was a swing round. But it just, yeah, I don't know. Like you said, Close should have won this easily. He really should have. He did end up getting the victory, so I really can't say too much. But I feel like there were missed opportunities that he had in the second round. He let Barboza get off a nice little string there. And quite honestly, because it's Barboza, when he lands clean, it's always quality. It always hurts. And that was the biggest thing, is I felt that he had the better quality strikes. But yeah, it is what it is.
And just his, he might have had the better quality strikes. I scored it for Close. And the reason being is just, it looked like when Close landed on Barboza, it just caused him, you'd see, you do the eye close and the eye twitch thing where he'd kind of look over his shoulder a minute, do the typical Barboza stutter step, and then have to regroup, where if you're getting hit and it causes you to reset over and over again, it's just hard for me to overlook that, unfortunately. And that's just where he's at. I mean, he can fight fucking Michael Johnson or whoever next. Just give him.
He did 10 years ago, but
yeah, just do that again. Any, who cares? And for Drakkar Klose also, I'm not going to sit here and look through the men's top 50 at lightweight to pick him the 35th ranked guy.
Well, Close isn't exactly young either. I think he's 37 or something like that. So, I think that he's basically capped out where he's going to be anyway as well. So, yeah.
The highlight of his career will always be the Beneil Dariush fight or the Jeremy Stevens push, which neither
not good highlights to have,
and neither of those were in his favor. I guess the slam knockout he had a couple fights ago was pretty cool too.
Oh yes, no, that was pretty sweet.
Before that, a fight that was not pretty sweet. We had Karine Silva defeat Diani Barbosa. Dude, Diani Barbosa was out here throwing 1-2s to the body, getting lateral drops on Karine Silva. And then all of a sudden, Karine Silva was I'm just going to make this a weird, gross grappling contest.
Yeah.
I hate that was her, that was her game-winning or her fight-winning adjustment or her game-winning adjustment, whatever. But it worked, kind of.
Yeah. Yeah.
In a shitty fight.
W.
I actually scored it for Barboza, but I looking back, I do think that those sub attempts from Karine Silva in the third should have meant something. Ask Mark Goddard, and anything that happened on the mat means fuck all anyway. I don't know, dude. I could stop talking about this fight right now.
I'll throw this out there. Silva made the right adjustments. Barboza didn't. Nope. Once Silva adjusted, Barboza didn't make any adjustments, and I think that's what ultimately cost her. Because you're absolutely right. Barboza looked very sharp early on. Her jab was looking beautiful. And I was expecting us to get a repeat of what happened in their first fight, and it didn't this time. I'm still not convinced that Barbosa's not the better fighter, but Silva fought the smarter fight, so she gets the W.
So Marcus Mustard is stealing one of my Bears. I was going to say people with the last name of Barbosa, even though it's spelled differently. That's a good one. And before that, opening up the card, we had Joseph Morales defeat Alibi Idris. He was a huge ass underdog. This is for the Ultimate Fighter finale at men's flyweight. And dude, low key, one of the more impressive performances on the card. It sucks that this was fucking cool.
Yeah, no,
this was a cool ass fight and a really cool ass performance.
Yeah, no, I do remember Morales from his first stint, and I thought that the guy had some potential because he was very young when he first entered the UFC. I want to say 23. But he also had the misfortune of joining the UFC right before they decided that they were going to axe the division. So
and fighting
never really,
Davis and Figueiredo.
yes, before we all knew exactly who he was. So he never really got a fair shake in the UFC, and he's been fighting sporadically ever since. So he's just kind of been a forgotten man. But holy shit, if he didn't remind us all who he is in this fight, holy shit.
Consistently attacking, like in
Yes.
every moment. His striking looked good. His boxing looked good. His clinch work looked good. His takedowns weren't the best, but that doesn't matter in MMA as long as you get the right result into getting ground control. Like in the first, ended the first round in full on rear naked choke, locked the fuck in, and then second round goes out there and gets the finish. Like, dude, like sign him up to, Keith mentioned Cody Durden. Like that's the kind of fight they need to just throw him in right away.
Yeah, no, it's got to be a quality opponent.
Like
I had Temerov.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Like he or even like Tim Elliott. Like let's see what he can do. He's been in the UFC before. Like he's even though he just won the Ultimate Fighter, he is a UFC vet. Like he's been here before. And he's in his 30s. I believe he's 31. And you heard DC even say like he did not fight like this in the house.
No.
No. Don't know how much time DC and Cho really spent in the house, but 45 minutes. Yeah, dude, no, he looked fucking awesome. Like keep showing up and keep doing this at men's flyweight, and like there's a future for you, even if you're 31.
Yeah. Absolutely. So, dude, that's the whole card. So yeah, now we've got a couple of fun things to go through. What do we usually do? Is it the cut list first, or
we're running the show at this point, so I say we can do whatever we want. You pick.
Okay, let's start with the cut list. I think that's going to be relatively quick, so we'll get that out of the way. What do you got?
Cut list. Really quickly, though, I do want to mention this because it just randomly came to me and I thought it was fucking hilarious. In the Dricus Du Plessis pre-fight, I'll save it for Dude Seriously. Sorry, cut list.
Ninja Kitty's got a decent idea.
Brian Battle, like he even made did you guys see his Instagram post? Like, I'll read it to you. Did you see it?
I didn't. So let's hurry up and do. Yeah, I think this is worthwhile. This is actually something I think that should take precedence over the cut list.
I'm gonna read it to you. So he posted. It's him like doing some pre-fight stuff, and sorry to everyone I let down. I'm genuinely sorry from the bottom of my heart, but this isn't over yet. I'm not done. Thank you for everyone who's reached out with positivity. Also, thanks to everyone who's holding me accountable through this as well. The game continues. I mean, dude, you won the Ultimate Fighter. Speaking of the Ultimate Fighter, Brian Battle's pretty highly touted. He's good on the mic. He's a good fighter. He used to fight at heavyweight. I don't know what he's doing. It's like he's doing like the Andy Ruiz thing, where like he won a couple fights. Remember when Andy Ruiz knocked out Anthony Joshua and then he just gained like 700 pounds and blew through a ton of I don't know what Brian Battle's doing, man, but like I'm not ready to cut him. But if he's on your cut list, shit, dude, by all means. I actually don't have anyone on my cut list though.
Yeah, I've got Mearchart. He's lost 3 in a row. He's looking worse every time out. So I say it largely just because hopefully it's almost like a forced retirement. Dude, go into coaching. You've taken a crap ton of damage over your career. I don't want to be responsible for you taking any more.
He should self-cut.
That would be my preference, but we both know that rarely happens.
Yep. And if he was in any other division, but like if the UFC is still figuring out ways to matchmake Paul Craig, I don't know why haven't we seen Paul Craig and GM3 in a fight? Like that's the type. Like, why haven't we seen that?
Well, Craig's back up to 205, so I get what you're saying. If Craig wants to go back down to 185, and
or if GM3, Or if GM3 wants to fight him at 205, that's like the type of shit I'm looking at for GM3 if he decides to continue to do this. I'm not going to cut GM3 because he's done a lot of, he's taken a lot of fights for the UFC, a lot of fights that were,
Oh, dude, he's a stud. He's a stud.
He's been in a lot of disadvantageous situations, and in fights that so I'm going to keep him off my cut list, but he should probably be there. Honestly, the closest person to a cut list, in my opinion, would be Brian Battle, just based off of his inability to show up.
Yeah, dude, he pulled the Anthony Johnson, he kept missing weight at welterweight, so he moved up to middleweight and blew that.
Well, Anthony Johnson had an excuse because he was fucking shredded. Brian Battle's eating shredded beef and shredded chicken. True. He needs to be eating shredded chicken. I don't know, bro, that's something that's missing weight by 4 pounds up a division. He was forced to go to middleweight.
Yeah.
I don't know. Tough scenes for him. Bulls and the Bears.
Yeah, let's do that. What do you want to do first?
I'll let you go first, and I will let you do the Bulls.
Bulls? Okay. I'll start from the bottom. Number 3 bull for me, Joseph Morales. Dude, just an incredible story.
Oh,
yeah. We already touched on that. He was cut from the UFC several years ago, comes back, looks like $1 million to the point where I'm already like, let's throw this guy against a ranked opponent or something similar to that. Looked phenomenal. Joseph Morales, big bull. Number 2, Carlos Prates. That was just an unbelievable performance on his part, and I probably should have piped up, but watching Jeff Neal, I don't think Neal could have done much more to try to win. I think he was fighting what he was supposed to fight to get that win, and Prates just still steamrolled him. Prates looks like $1 million. And then number 1, Lerone Murphy. He did what he needed to do to potentially get a title shot. Obviously it's not guaranteed, but the fact that people are even questioning whether or not he should means that he did exactly what he needed to do. So he's a big bull.
And one more thing to add on to that is, right when Yair Rodriguez killed Pitbull, the UFC was like, "Ooh, you beat a Bellator guy. Let's give you," the UFC loves when one of their guys goes out there and crushes one of the guys that they kind of bring over, from other organizations. And really Michael Chandler was like the only guy in recent history that's, done the opposite. Most of the other guys coming over have been getting iced.
And the funny thing is, you say do the opposite, and we're talking about a guy that's like 2-6.
His first one though, he killed Dan Hooker. It's just my number three bull, Carlos Prates and Lerone Murphy are probably really number 1 and number 2. The double spinning back elbows, literally the minutes, especially in my opinion, Carlos Prates with the nasty cut that was just insane. But I'm gonna go Tim Elliott. Tim Elliott, cool. He was a big underdog on the main card, fought well, and I loved how he was transitioning from a one-arm guillotine where Kaya Sakura would kind of try to scramble out, and he still had that one arm locked in, but then he was using his other arm to post and balance and retain the position. And then the second he got that fucking second arm locked in, there was nothing doing for Asakura. I will. I also want to give a shout out to Joseph Morales. That was honestly dude, one of the more impressive performances on the card. He was he's a really big underdog. But my number 1 going to be Khazmat Chimaev. You went out there, you blanked the champion that had been undefeated in the UFC, was out there, getting a lot of stoppages and having some back and forth fights. But, as he got better competition, he started finishing dudes. Dricus was coming off of that fight with Strickland where he went out there, broke Strickland's nose and fought better than he has ever fought before. Finished Izzy, and then Khamzat went out there and proved to me and everybody else that no, he has 5-round cardio. He can do his game for 5 rounds, and I scored 2 10-8 rounds for him. That's fair. Pretty damn impressive. Bears, since you went first, I will go first. So this is something that I don't think you or any of the listeners will have noticed or picked up, but one of the Bears, people that ride horses, Aaron Pico, known equestrian guy. And then on the prelims, the very card opener, Alibi Idris, he's a Kazakh talking about his horse. The whole promo is him like riding his horse and shit. So guys that ride horses, not doing well.
Yeah.
I was gonna.
We did have an appearance by Alir Latifi though, and he has the most famous horse riding picture in MMA history.
Yeah. So yeah, I know he's on Team Hamzat, so maybe that horses are getting one back. I just thought that was a weird, funny thing. Number 2, Bear. I'm gonna go with Aaron Pico. There was a lot of talks about him in a title fight. He was talking about how he's gonna go out there and just be the physical, and he did everything he said he was gonna do besides getting knocked the F out. But he's 13-5-0 now. He's in like one of the toughest divisions in the UFC, even if it's more wide open than it's ever been now that Ilya and Max Holloway are no longer at 145 and we got an old Volk. This was really his time to capitalize. And he suffered a really violent knockout. Like that's something that you don't come back from right away. And then my number 1 Bear is Dricus Du Plessis. He got pretzeled tonight. He got turned into a pretzel. And I know Marcus Mustard saying Nolan is a bear. He was winning, but he took a leg kick and his knee blew up. Like he lost this fight kind of more via a freak accident than kind of anything.
Well, beyond that, he was a sacrificial lamb. He was expected to lose. So
he was, even though DDP was, the underdog here, and I picked Hamza, you picked DDP. Between you, myself, Keith, and Ben, all 4 of us, we split. Keith and I picked Hamza. You and Ben picked Dricus, and like, dude, even after the 3rd round, I was putting in the Sherdog Slack. You saw me. I'm still not confident that Hamza. I'm still not giving up on Dricus here. Like, but no, Dricus. His answer was what we saw in the 3rd round. And like all the judges still scored that against him. Sorry, in the 5th round. So yeah, Dricus is my number 1 Bear. What about you?
I won't repeat the ones that you already listed, but I'll throw out a couple of really quick. Jessica Andrade, she's lost 6 of her last 8. And even though we said she probably would have taken a Pride Rules fight, she still lost a stand-up battle to Lupi Godinez. So. And that's the type of fight that Jessica Andrade wants. Losing the type of fight she wants against Lupi is not a good sign for her. So, and then also I got to throw in Kai Asakura. High price free agent, gets a title shot as soon as he comes in. 2 fights in, and he has 0 wins. That's not good. Not good. So, anyway, dude, seriously, next.
Dude, seriously,
you got any?
I do. In the Dricus Du Plessis pre-fight, little package they put together, I was just, my chick and I, the wife and I are both just cracking up. Dricus Du Plessis is like, if it goes to decision, I win. If I finish him, I win. And I'm like, this is just the most like Dricus Du Plessis MMA brained pre-fight. Like, yeah, dude, if you finish him, you win.
Exactly.
Like,
yeah.
Are you finishing Hamza in any other way that I need to know about? Like, if you are, please keep that between yourselves. I thought that was just that made me just kind of chuckle quite a bit. There were so many weird and wonky, dude, seriously, them cleaning. Like, I have never seen someone get knocked out and they're like attending to the blood on an unconscious opponent. Like that was pretty like brutal. What about you? What do you got?
Dude, seriously, Rogan and Cormier claiming that the Silva and Barbosa fight was a robbery.
Yeah.
Look, I understand if you disagree with the decision, but no, it was not a robbery in the least. Rounds 2 and 3 were both razor close. They could have gone either way. So no, dude, seriously, come on. I know you guys feel like it's an obligation to complain about the scoring in at least one fight per card that you call, but that was not the fight to call all that on.
Yeah.
Dude, seriously, Prochez, you're justifying your smoking. If you want to do it, whatever, fine. But I love the fact that, well, it curbs his appetite and it controls his anxiety.
I'm not going to argue with him.
I'm not saying that there's not any truth to it, but to say that it's a net benefit for you, dude, seriously, come on. You're just looking for a reason to justify it. I don't care. But yeah, if you want to say that it helps with your image, that I'll buy more than the fact that it's better for you. But yeah.
I wish he would just say it makes me fucking look cool, man. You know, like
yes.
I would rather see a guy smoking than vaping.
Yeah, I
Bring back
can
cigarettes.
actually get behind that. I can get behind that actually. And then dude, seriously, and this one's actually a good dude, seriously. You know, like dude, seriously. Joe Rogan actually shouting out Liz Carmouche and giving the PFL some props on the broadcast. Normally the UFC will not give any sort of good attention to any other organization, but the fact that they did on this, dude, seriously, that's cool. I love it when they're willing to do that.
I do think it's a little bit more because him and Carmouche are sort of somewhat teammates because she's a 10th Planet BJJ gal.
True, but still, he did say PFL. He said it.
He said PFL, which is really funny because if you watch the PFL, they are, I mean, Khabib basically, like, if Khabib's getting his 20 minutes of fame on every single PFL card, basically. So, you know, it's kind of, it's kind of funny, you know, they get one mention and we're like, ooh, and then PFL's whole thing is like, you know, doing the Khabib rerun. Bonuses.
Oh,
I know them.
I don't. So I'll hurry up and tell you who I think probably should have gotten them.
Okay.
I will say Hernandez, Oleksiejczuk, and then the two obvious ones are Prochez and Murphy.
All right, people in the chat, tell us who you guys think should have won the fight of the night, knockout of the night bonuses, performance bonuses. We actually have no fight of the night.
Okay, so I was right on that.
We got 4 performance bonuses. We have Khamzat Chimaev getting a performance bonus.
I disagree with that, but okay. I'm not saying he didn't perform well, but anyway.
Lerone Murphy,
rightfully.
Carlos Pratas,
rightfully,
and Tim Elliott.
I'm not going to hate on that.
No, the dude hasn't fought in a really long time. Like he was an underdog. Like I'm totally cool with that. Susurkayev, you know, I'm kind of like that. Susurkayev not getting a bonus kind of probably tells you how Dana's feeling about him a little bit right now, because I think Dana's the guy that makes the call on those bonuses.
I think so too.
Michelle Oleksiejczuk kind of got fucked here a little bit. Like maybe switch him out for Chimaev. But honestly, like if we're really being realistic, what Oleksiejczuk did to Jerome Mershart, that was cool, but not nearly as impressive, you know, as what Khamzat did to DDP. What Khamzat did to DDP was, you know, comparing it to Michelle Oleksiejczuk.
I understand that, but I think that 50,000 would mean a bit more to Oleksiejczuk or Hernandez. You know, I agree. Yeah. So I always feel like if you're going to have these guys fighting for that extra cash, be a little bit more generous towards the guys lower on the card that could actually do more with that and actually become better fighters with that money. So
I totally agree. I think that covers everything. I think the only thing, I think that's the only thing that we're missing is the listener of the night. Honestly, like he's not a listener. He's the host of this show, but like, shout out to Keith. He was on a ferry today in Galveston, Texas, like going to Connecticut and you know, and doing a large portion of this. Like, shout out to Keith. You know, all the OGs were in here, like Chris Wiz, Ninja Kitty, Marcus Mustard. There was a couple people, the Pot Hound, hadn't seen him before. Jay Gone, I have not seen him before either. And there was one more that was really, really active. Oh gosh. Jake C, that's another dude that's been super active that I'm not sure I've seen a bunch. Antoine Willis was here. Londo. So shout out to all you guys. Like, if you're new here, it's not something that Dane and I usually do all the time. Keith and Ben are usually driving the car on this show, but you know, I'm gonna just give it to all the listeners. What about you?
Yeah. Well, first of all, I do want to say that we're driving the car tonight because there was no guarantee that Keith was going to be able to catch the card, and so we figured a show is better than no show. So hopefully you guys enjoyed it, you know, because we'll both acknowledge Keith and Ben, you know, they're the masters of this. So you know, this isn't us trying to say, oh, we're looking to replace them or anything like that.
No, not at all. No. Nor but, I could not keep up.
No. So just show better than no show is how we were looking at this. So hopefully you guys enjoyed it. But I'll probably say Jagon just because that's not a name that I'm all that familiar with. And you know, like you said, very active, had a lot of good stuff. And then I'll shout out Londo as well, because another name I'm not too familiar with that I thought had a lot of really good points. And again, you know, like you said, all the regular listeners here, you know, all of you were fantastic with your comments as well. So don't feel like I'm not trying to show you any love.
Dane, we did it. We made it to the end. Tell everyone where they can find your work. It's here on sherdog.com, but give them a little bit more where they can find your stuff.
Yeah, I'm all got a weekly article on Sherdog that usually comes out on Thursdays. Hopefully you guys do enjoy that. And I'm not the most active on Twitter, but if I am throwing out any thoughts or ideas, I'm at the Dane Fox.
Cool. I am Dev Goes Fishing on all social media platforms. Check the Kick. It's on YouTube, sherdog.com as well. Comes out on Tuesdays. Keith, listen for Keith's doing the preview live. If I'm available, I will try to join that to chat with you guys in the chat. Keith will be doing his thing. Ben is off, so shout out to him. Thank you guys so much for listening. That's the show, guys. Have a great evening.